think we're live here. I don't normally go live on Facebook, so if anyone jumps in, say hello. Let me know if you can hear me. Hello, hello. I think we have a person here. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me turn my volume up really quick. Hi, Kristen. You can hear me. Okay, great. I think we'll give just a couple minutes here to let some other people jump in. I'm not super familiar with Facebook Live, so we're just gonna wing it. I see a couple people jumping in here. So let me get all my stuff here together. Hello, hello. Hi, Heidi. Great, great, great. You'll have to excuse my voice. My allergies are so bad this morning. I woke up and the cottonwood trees are in full bloom in Wisconsin. It's terrible. I hate them. Hi! So yeah, I have this froggy throat and everything just today, so that's great. But we'll do our best here, and I'll take some allergy meds. I just want to give a couple minutes here. It's just after 2, I suppose it's 3 Eastern time. It's 2 o'clock here in Wisconsin. But I'll give a couple minutes just for people to jump in here so we don't get too many of the same questions at the end. You're in Wisconsin too? That's awesome. I am in Oshkosh, so like halfway between Milwaukee and Green Bay. I think we might have talked before, actually. Okay, we've got, you're near Kenosha. Okay, my husband has a lot of family in Kenosha, so we go that way quite often. So awesome. Okay, friends, there's about a dozen people in here. I'm not sure how busy the lives normally get, but I'll just get started. My name is Char. I own The Frosted Bee in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, like I just said. And I have been decorating cookies for only about 2 years now, but I cannot do anything halfway. So what started out as just a fun hobby has quickly turned into a business, and now I don't know. It was kind of a hobby business. Now it's a little more serious. I don't know how to classify it, but I don't have a commercial kitchen or anything. I do everything out of my home, like most of you. I was just baking and baking and baking and eating and eating and eating, so I had to get rid of some of these cookies, and that's why I decided to do the farmer's market near me. The Oshkosh Farmers Market is one of the best ones in the Fox Valley where I live. So I'm in kind of a semi-rural area, and the town that I live in is only about 3,000 residents, and that's pretty typical for all the little communities surrounding Oshkosh. Oshkosh itself has about 77,000 residents inside of it, and so that's the best farmers market. It's very well marketed, very well known and loved. It's managed beautifully, and so that is definitely the market that everyone wants to be at. There's around 100 vendors usually each week, and I would say maybe about 6 or 8 of them are bakers, including myself. Not all of us do decorated cookies. There are like 2 or 3 that do decorated cookies. One lady does just entirely sourdough and other breads. There's a lady who does mostly cupcakes and muffins. There's a gluten-free baker. Hi everyone jumping in. So we have a good mix of bakers, but I'm not the only one there by any means. So how I prep for the market, this is what everyone wants to know, right? How I prep. So as far as like physically baking, I do all my baking one day, normally Sunday. And then I bake between 150 and 200 sugar cookies. And I usually save my drop cookie baking for the end of the week. So then I work a normal day job during the day. So in the evenings, Monday through Thursday, I will decorate all my cookies. I like to do about 20 of each design. 20 to maybe 25, 30 if I think it's going to be a really popular design. And they're all very simple designs that I can make a lot of really quickly. If I'm trying to make it more diverse, I might use the same cookie and make it multiple colors. So if I'm doing a dinosaur, I might do green and purple and blue dinosaurs, so I have variety while not having to, make a whole bunch of different designs or shapes. And then on Friday, I do all my drop cookies. I try and package them as I go. So all the cookies that I finish on Monday, I let them dry overnight, and Tuesday I will package up and sticker all those cookies before I start decorating on Tuesday night. So that way I can keep them nice and fresh. I'm not trying to seal everything the night before the market. So each of you is going to have your own process, whatever works best for you, your kitchen, how many cookies you're making. So that's the other big thing. How do I decide how much to bake for the market? Now that I've been doing this particular market many times, I did it every other weekend from June through October last year. So I think that ended up being like 16 different weeks. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, it was a lot. I really got it dialed in how many cookies I needed. In the beginning, I was making either way not enough or way too much. So what I figured out for me personally and this specific market, I can sell to usually between 1% and 2% of the number of attendees. So the Oshkosh Farmers Market usually they say gets between 20 and 30,000 attendees every week. Sometimes I think they might exaggerate that a little bit. I don't know that it's ever closer to 30. I think it's usually closer to 20. But it is a very busy market. Like I said, it's beautifully managed. It's been very healthy market for many years. So everyone in the surrounding area knows that on Saturday morning, the Oshkosh Farmers Market is where you want to be. It is well loved by the community. So even the downtown business owners, so my day job is actually that I own a retail store. It is in downtown Oshkosh, so the farmers market is literally right outside my store. All the business owners also love the market because it brings a lot of attendees downtown. So a lot of people are staying downtown, shopping, eating lunch, doing all sorts of things with the farmers market. It's in a great location, which is definitely something to consider. If you're considering a market that's kind of out of the way or you're not really sure how it's going to be received, I would be really conservative in your estimates on how many cookies you're going to sell. For me, I would much rather always sell out and be done a little early than sitting there so sad that all that work is, wasted with no one buying cookies. So definitely consider how well known the market is, the number of attendees, and any market manager, event manager, whoever is coordinating this should be able to tell you the number of attendees they expect. That's not always the correct number of attendees that come because there are a number of factors. The weather is a big one for us in Wisconsin. If it's thunderstorming, we're not going to get a lot of attendees. If it's a beautiful, gorgeous, sunny day, we'll usually have quite a few attendees in the morning, and then by the afternoon, it'll just be dead. Everyone's out doing things. I live around a lot of water, so everyone's out on their boats or doing all sorts of things in the summer. And then, because my market goes through October, sometimes it's very, very cold. So it really depends. You'll have to pay attention to what the upcoming weather forecast is. I've had weeks where it was forecasting a thunderstorm all the way up until Friday afternoon, and then suddenly Friday they said, gorgeous sunny day tomorrow. So I kind of try and play the middle of the field, whether I want to bake hundreds of cookies or if I want to be a little more conservative. My market manager is very flexible. We are able to cancel our market booth without a penalty as long as we give her 72 hours. So I cannot call her on Saturday morning and say, I'm not going to make it. She would be very upset about that. But if I called her on Wednesday and said, hey, something came up and I'm not going to make it on Saturday, no penalty. She'll transfer my payment to a different week. No big deal. Your mileage may vary. Make sure you talk to your market manager, find out all their policies and everything like that before you put in an application to be a vendor. They should be very straightforward with you on what all of their requirements are. Our market manager will send pretty much anyone an application and has everything lined out before. She doesn't need to know how serious you are. She just is like, it's out there. Everyone's able to know it and view it. I've heard of some market managers being a little more like, maybe not secretive, but they don't just put the information freely out there. You have to really ask for it. It just kind of depends. It will also vary what your market requires. So some of them require additional insurance or a vending license or a food license or, all sorts of different things your market might require. Our market is very relaxed. Wisconsin cottage food laws mean I don't need a food license. I don't need a vendor license. I don't need a food safety certificate. I'm not required to have any of those things in order to sell my cookies. You might need those in your area, so just double check all of that stuff before you sign up to have a booth. One of the only things I'm required to have is additional insurance. I was able to put that right on my homeowner's policy, so it was very easy. But definitely check out all that stuff before you apply and are getting ready and baking, and then they call you and say, hey, we're missing all this information. So back to market day, selling these cookies. So I decide how many cookies I'm going to make, right? So for 20,000 attendees, I'm probably going to sell about 200 cookies. How do I decide what I'm going to make? I always 100% make unicorns, dinosaurs, cats, and donuts. I don't know why. They are so popular. So popular. And I make them in the simplest designs possible. I don't want to be making 20 super intricate dinosaurs, right? So I literally take my dinosaur cutter, I flood the entire body, and then I go back and I do details with spikes and spots and eyes and teeth. That's it. Do you find that customers who typically shop your farmer's market expecting deals or willing to pay for quality products? My particular market, there's a little bit of both, but most of them are wanting a quality product or a homemade, like a non-processed as much as possible product versus, just wanting to get the best deals. But our market is also very good at marketing it as a support local. These are real people with real families. So a lot of them don't see us as like a big company where they're trying to get a sale. Most of them are just like, I'm so happy you're here. I love your cookies. I want to support you. I'll buy your $5 cookie. a kid comes by, breaks one of your cookies, parents say nothing, advice please. I rarely ever have this happen. I feel like we're Midwest nice, right? In Wisconsin. So occasionally it does happen, and I usually just say, hey, please be very careful with these cookies. They take me a long time to decorate. And then usually parents, even if they don't offer to buy it, they'll get their kids away. They'll kind of, shoo them away or say, oh, I'm so sorry, let me pay for that. Most of the time they do end up buying that one. Or they're trying to pick out a cookie, a kid breaks one, and the parents will say, well, that one's yours now, you broke it. Like 99% of the time. If a cookie gets broken, they don't offer to pay for it. I'm very non-confrontational, so I will not say, hey, you have to buy that. I'll just set it aside. I kind of write it off. I'm expecting some level of breakage anyway, and I rarely sell out to the point where I'm like, sorry, no cookies. It usually, I bake just enough extra so that by the end of the market, they get a couple of options. Dino sold out, and baseballs. Yeah. So any like pop culture kind of stuff, I feel like sells so well. And then the other thing that was really popular last summer, and I'm expecting to be popular again, is axolotls. If you don't know what an axolotl is, it's this crazy little weird salamander creature with these like crazy gills and this long tail. I started making axolotl cookies because my sister has 2 axolotls, and my nephew is obsessed with them, and he kept asking me for axolotl cookies. And so I made some. I hand cut like 10 of these crazy little pink salamanders and sold them like immediately. I posted on my Facebook page just a little spoiler, like, hey, I'll have these tomorrow at the market. And it was like by far and it was just like a crappy photo, like taken in poor lighting on my kitchen counter, like, hey, spoiler. People did not care. People came running to my booth in the morning and bought all of them. And so the next week I made 20. Those still all sold out. And then someone started asking me for an axolotl in a bucket, which I had no idea what that was. Apparently it's something that you can get in Minecraft, but it's one of those crazy little salamanders inside of a bucket. So I made like 30 of those and sold all of those. So if you can find something in your area that's just like the kids are going crazy for, turn it into a cookie. It was like by far, I was shocked. My mind was blown. No one cared about unicorns and dinosaurs that day. They all wanted axolotls. So, but make sure you keep it kind of simple. You don't want to make some intricate design where now you have to try and make a whole bunch of them, right? So try and make it so that way you can do 20 of them pretty fast. Or however many you're going to make. For me, I like to do 20. That's how many I can fit on one sheet pan. I have a 36-inch oven right here. This is like extra wide, so I can fit a full sheet pan into my oven and bake it all at once. So I can bake 20 cookies on one pan, and I have 12 of them. So normally I make 12 different designs, 20 of each. But you again will have to figure out what's best for your market. Let's see. And then how do I package them? So I have tried every single way. I've tried doing single cookies, 2 packs of cookies. I've got some Miss Cookie packaging that's like a greeting card little cookie. I've done minis, I've done mini dippers and cups, and I've done like 6 packs of cupcakes. A little bit. I only dabble in cupcakes. I do mostly cookies. But by far, my best seller is single cookies like this. This was left over from a Mother's Day event. Just a single cookie, heat sealed in a cellophane with an ingredient label on the back. I sell these all day long. No bows, nothing fancy. They do not care. They are going to eat this immediately. And like 9 times out of 10, someone asks me for scissors because they're going to literally start eating it before they've even walked away. My market, they don't care about bows. They don't care that much about pretty packaging. As long as I have it presented on the table nicely, that's it. There are no frills, no thrills. They just want one cookie. The only exception to that usually is like gifts. So around Thanksgiving, I sell packages of minis. Usually I scour Hobby Lobby and I find whatever deal they have on glass jars. So usually I can get a glass jar with like a flip lid, you know what I'm talking about, for like $2 or $3 on sale. And I'll fill those up with like 12 minis and sell that as like a gift with a little tag on it. People go crazy for those at the holidays. Or like 2 packs I do around like teacher appreciation, back to school, nurse appreciation, all that. I can usually do like 2 cookies in one like box together. I've tried doing cookies and gift cards. It didn't go as well, but most of the time, like 99% of the time, they want one single cookie. That's it. I do all just one flavor. Yep. Except for drop cookies. I add drop cookies to my markets, but oh, I'm sorry you couldn't find me. I'm glad you made it. You haven't missed too much. But yes, I do. So my company is called The Frosted Bee, and that is because I do honey sugar cookies. It's the only sugar cookie I ever offer, even in customs. I don't do chocolate. I don't do chocolate chip. I don't do seasonal sugar cookies. I only offer seasonal flavors in my drop cookies. It makes it so easy for me because I purchased a 20-quart mixer at a bakery auction. There was a bakery near me going out of business, and I got a great deal on it. So I make like 10 times my normal recipe in the Hobart. His name is Frank. Frank the Tank. He mixes all my dough. So I can do like 10 at a time. And then, so that's how I'm able to do all of my, I make all my dough, I roll it all out, and now I have a sheeter, so I'll sheet it, roll it all out, cut, bake, everything all in one day for the market. So I probably would not be able to do that if I was mixing 1 or 2 batches at a time in like my KitchenAid. My little tiny KitchenAid here would never be able to handle that. So that's one of the ways I streamlined my process was my Hobart mixer and my Eugene roller. So those 2 literally saved me. And because I was doing it all summer long, they have more than paid back what I put into them. But again, if you're starting at a smaller market, you might not need to do that. My market that I go to is pretty large. Okay, so let's talk about how I set up my booth. I'm going to back this up a little bit here. Let me back you up to here. I think you can still see pretty well. Okay, so what I normally do, I couldn't fit a 6-foot table in my kitchen with the silent here, but let's pretend this is my table here. I always put down a tablecloth. I have like a plastic banquet table that I always take with me. I drive a little tiny Hyundai Elantra. So it is like the tiniest car with the trunk is like this big, okay? So I can only fit 1 table into my car. I literally cannot fit 2 or I wouldn't be able to bring any cookies. So I have streamlined my process down to 1 6-foot table and my umbrella. So normally behind me, I don't have like a big pull-out canopy, you know, like those kind of tent gazebo type canopies. I don't have that. I have literally a purple umbrella. It's kind of like at an arc. It was in the pictures I sent. It might be on the like, what's it called? The profile, the header photo for this event, or for the event in the group. But basically, it's like a big 6-foot tall umbrella, and it's hanging. So when the wind comes, it does move a little bit, but it cannot flip over. It's just engineered in a way that it literally is impossible to flip over from the wind. So I have my umbrella, and I put the weights on it, and then I put my 6-foot table down, and then I have a banner stand that's behind me that has my logo and a little bit of contact information. So, hi! Hey, Carly. I'm so sorry, my voice, you guys. My allergies are terrible today with these cottonwood trees, so just bear with me a little bit. But So pretending this is my 6-foot table right here, I have 3 different colors of tablecloths that I usually use. Almost all of them are brightly colored. So I have my hot pink one that I use probably about half the time. I have my yellow one, which is my favorite one, and it's so eye-catching because the yellow and the purple umbrella, just everybody sees it from far away. There's not a single other booth in my farmer's market that is brightly colored like mine, and I love it. And then I have this more subdued, like burgundy color. I usually switch to this one in like beginning of September or October. And then there's another big market that I do indoors in November. And so I always use my burgundy one for the fall because it just like really fits in with that theme. But most of the time is my yellow one here. I don't know if I can really stretch this. We'll have to pretend that this is nice and beautifully taut here. If it'll even stay on my slippery counter. So I like to do this to cover up my table. It's very like stretchy spandex nylon. I got this on Amazon for like $12. And then I always put a tablecloth over that. And in the fall, I use this one. It's got these burgundy flowers. It says grateful. It's got pumpkins and stuff. But in the summer, I like to use, it's got little bees on it and flowers. So I like to try and keep my booth very thematic. So I have so much bee decor. It's not even funny. And people always ask me, they're like, what's with the bees? And or how'd you choose your name? And I say they're honey sugar cookies. And people are like, oh, I love that. So I feel like that just really, really suits, the bees really suit my business. And then I like to do the tablecloth over only half. Otherwise, I think it gets really busy. So I do, and I usually it's a circle, and I usually fold it in half like this and let the circular edges drape off the other side. So pretend this is hanging down in the front here. This is stretched top. It looks very nice. And then I put a little, what's it called? Like a A-frame chalkboard right here that says honey sugar cookies. And then behind me is my logo and everything like that. Okay, I don't think I missed any questions. I'm sorry, I will try. I'm standing a little far away now, so let me know if you can't see me. Then this, I love this. I just got this. I've used it like a dozen times, but I got it at the end of the season. This is a flag banner. It says cookies on it. And these are kind of my branded colors, so my yellow and my kind of purple burgundy here. This has a stake so I can stick it into the ground. And since it's grass behind me, it catches a lot of attention when it flaps in the wind. But I've also used this indoors, and people love it because I don't bring my purple umbrella indoors. Obviously, there's no reason for it. But people have kind of learned to find me. So when I'm in a great big vendor hall, usually the vendor hall or the event, the craft show that I go to has at least 100 vendors, maybe more. But it's in like a big high school auditorium. So there's just vendors all the way around the outside, all the way up and down in rows through the middle. And I bungee cord this to a chair. It's got like a pole that goes through it so it stands up on its own. And I bungee cord it to a chair, and it's like tall. And people can see me from across the room. I hear people say, I see the cookie sign from all the way across the room. I see them running through it. So definitely you want a little bit of height or something to make you stand out. So when I'm outside, my purple umbrella and my yellow tablecloth, I always put that in my posts when I tell people where to find me. I always say, look for the purple umbrella in front of such and such a store. And people always are like, oh, I'm so glad I found your purple umbrella. And this was the game changer for me inside. Okay, so then, depending on which side of the street I am on, I always use this, and I know a lot of you have these. This was from Hobby Lobby. I forgot what it's called. It's like a little cubby thing. It's made to hang on the wall, but I literally stand it up. I got that one, that outdoor flag from Vistaprint. And I got it on sale, so I want to say it was like $50. but well worth the investment for me. So this I use, and I don't use anything to stand it up. I just stand it up on its own, just like this. And then I stand to the side of it. I'll put this a little closer to the front. So I put this like almost up to the front corner of my table. It's pretty sturdy. It's pretty thick. I never weight this with anything besides my own cookies, and I've never had it come crashing down, knock on wood. But I always angle this whatever direction traffic is going. So if people are walking the farmer's market in this direction, I put it on this side. If they're coming this way, I would angle it over here on the other side, because this is what people always see. They can't really see all these flat cookies. They can't really tell what I'm selling, even though it says the Frosted Bee Custom Cookies. People never know what it is. And I just don't know if they don't read my banner or they're just walking by and it's not catching their eye. But then they see them and they go, oh, are those cookies? So this, I always put the opposite direction of whatever they're walking. I fill it up with cookies. I don't even put prices in here. I usually just put one little price sign here. And I make all my cookies in here $4 or $5 or whatever you want to do. Right? So then I have smaller displays that I put on the rest of the table. This is the only tall thing that I normally bring with me, unless I'm doing a really big market where I have like a corner booth or something and I want additional height. But normally this is more than enough height for me. Then I always have this tray, also Hobby Lobby. Actually, I'm pretty sure every piece of decor I have is from Hobby Lobby. So this goes here with drop cookies on it, and then this usually goes right here. Sometimes I have a little more. Okay, so I do that. Then I usually put my cash box back here, or sometimes I stash it behind this. I try and keep all my snacks and water and everything behind here so it looks nice and clean when people see it. Don't mind all this stuff. Then, or if I only have a couple of flavors, I'm sorry, you can't really see that at all. If I only have a couple flavors of drop cookies, I'll turn it this way and just do like 2 rows. And then I have this binder here with just photos of all, like some of my fairly recent work. Some of the stuff is from when I first started. So you get confused for soaps. Yeah, people ask me if there's soaps a lot. Around the holidays, if I start doing a lot of like Christmas designs, they'll ask me, are these ornaments or are they dog treats? I get dog treats a lot, even though nothing about my marketing has a dog in it whatsoever. I've never posted a picture of my dog on my page once, never. And so I don't know. People just ask me all the time, are these dog treats? And I always say, no, they're people treats. And then usually they laugh about that. So then I put my binder here, usually somewhere kind of towards the front where people can access it. And then I scatter my business cards all over the table. Unless it's very, very windy. Then I won't, because I hate chasing after them. But if it's not windy, if it's just like a nice lovely day, I will scatter them all over. I do some face up, some face down, just like a jumble of business cards, and people love it and they always grab them. I give away so many more business cards if they're spread out versus if I have them in a little holder. I don't have a sign for like Venmo or other payment services like that, mostly because I only do cash or Square. But Square has this great ability you can turn on that accepts all those other forms of payment. So someone can tap their phone to my card reader with Venmo, Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Wallet, all the different things. Afterpay, they can do all sorts of different things on Square just by tapping. So I only have to accept one processor, but they can pay pretty much any way they want. The only signage that I do put out usually says I accept EBT coins. EBT is like food stamps. And my market, definitely ask your market manager about that, because normally I have no way to accept that. You have to be like state approved by the state in order to like swipe their like EBT cards. But for the farmers market, what our market does is they have a station. When they get to the farmers market, they can swipe their EBT card and get these little wooden coins, and they can spend those just like money at any vendor that's selling food. So because my cookies, it's not food service, I'm considered a grocery item. So I can accept those EBT coins, and then at the end of the market, the manager walks around, collects the coins, and gives me cash. And then they have processed the food stamps cards on their end. So definitely ask your market manager if that's something that's possible. Because when I first started, a lot of people were asking about that. There's only one market I do that does that though. The other two events that I normally do, I can't do that. So just ask what your market does, but I love that. So I do put out a sign that says I accept EBT coins. But other than that, I mean, it's very easy, and most of the people at my farmer's market have cash. I accept probably 90% cash and like a little bit of payment processing. Okay, so there's that. Oh, and then to go with my bee theme, I always put out cute little decorations that go with my bee theme. And what I love to do to get my decorations, especially since bees are so popular right now, is I get these from other vendors. So I bought this little bee gnome at an event. I bought these from 2 different crocheters at different markets that I'm at. And I literally just put these on my table. Sometimes if I'm running low of cookies, I'll just stick him right in here. And I just have these cute little bee decorations. And then when people ask me, like, oh, is this bee for sale? I say, no, my friend made him for me, but you can get him down from so-and-so at XYZ. And I mean, they appreciate that. I love it. We're actually like a really pretty close-knit community of vendors at the farmers market. Everybody is, you know, very nice, very like supportive. We all try and, you know, keep an eye on each other's stuff. I mean, the market is 5 hours long, so sometimes I have to run to the restroom, and I'll just say to, even if I've never boothed next to this person, which normally I always have the same 2 people flanking me, but even if I've never met them and they're not busy, I'll say, do you mind watching my booth just for 5 minutes while I run to the restroom? And people are so good. I'm never concerned about anything disappearing, because we all just really watch out for each other. Again, your mileage may vary. You definitely have to like get to know the market manager, get to know the other vendors, and just kind of feel out your situation. Again, I live in rural Wisconsin, where we are a very close-knit community just in general. If I was doing a farmer's market in a very urban area, I probably would not be as comfortable doing that. And then, yes, vendors are super great about helping each other. Yes, I am a cottage law baker. I do everything out of my home kitchen here. This is it. But I do have a big island. I have a 36-inch oven, so that helps me get through everything pretty fast. Okay, any questions on, oh, and my sign, I forgot. I use little tiny, these are little tiny chalk, they're actually plastic, but they're little chalkboard signs. It has like a little chalk marker, so I just write on there, and then I wipe it off with a moist towelette or whatever, baby wipe, whatever I have, and I just set these in front of whatever they are. Okay, let me grab my notes, make sure I'm not forgetting anything really quick. Grab a drink of water. Okay. I had a checklist for you, but I forgot it on my printer at work. Oh, amount of cash you have on hand. Okay, so that's part of my checklist. So let's start the checklist here. Normally, everything I bring, I have it pretty streamlined now. I don't bring a lot of extra things besides what I specifically need. So I need my displays, almost always these three, and my binder. And then I always have my, well, depending on the event I'm doing, but for the farmer's market, I always bring my umbrella or canopy or whatever you have, my banner, my business cards, and then I have a little market box here. This is like my little SOS kit. So I have I don't even know where I got this, sorry, probably Walmart. But it's got like a little divider here. And in here I have scissors, I have my little bungee things, which I either use for my banner or for my cookie flag if I'm putting it to a chair or something. I've got business cards, I've got little clippies, because if it's windy, you might need to clip stuff. And then I made these little QR code, oh, that's my old one. Okay, I have another card that's very similar to this, but it has a QR code on one side that goes to all my social media. So I don't put a sign out for it, but I have these spread around the table and people grab them all the time. And then I have a little tape thingy, tape glue dots, tape dispenser, whatever, pens, markers, Post-its, and scissors. Super important. Then for my cash box, I have a separate little box that I have cash. It looks like a tiny little treasure chest because it's cute. Walmart. Okay, thanks, Heidi. Yep, Walmart. I always bring $150 worth of change in bills only. I do not price anything with change. I used to, when I first started, I would do some things are $3.50 or $4.50 or $5.25 or whatever. And so fast, I realized what a mistake that was. Forget the change. I never want to see another quarter in my life. Solid, whole dollar amounts. That's it. It's either $4, $5, $6, $10, whatever it is, it's a whole dollar amount. How do I plan around custom orders and vendor events? So in the summer, it is very slow for me for custom orders. Very, very slow. But then I only do the farmer's market every other week. So if I do take, as long as it's not a last minute order, if I do take custom orders for the week that I'm doing the market, so like they want to do a pickup on that weekend, I almost always ask them to pick up at my vendor booth at the event, and almost everyone agrees. Rarely is it an issue. But I will bake extra stuff for the farmer's market on my off week because I want my custom orders to always be the freshest. I've frozen custom orders before. It's no big deal. It's just for some reason I have a personal hang up about it if I'm able to do it. So I will freeze cookies for the farmer's market first, and then I will make my custom orders for that week fresh, if possible. Otherwise, if you can't, if I'm already chest deep in farmer's market prep and someone wants a custom order, normally the answer is no. I cry. Yes, that too. You can cry. Just cry, get it all out, and then carry on. 3 customers the same week, got 4 days notice for the farmer's market. Oh, that's awful. Team no sleep, right? So what was I saying? Oh yeah, my checklist. So $150 in change, 1s, 5s, and a few 10s. I always break big bills right away in the morning. People come buy a $4 cookie and be like, do you take a 50? And I always say yes, because the number of people that just hand me singles all day long is absurd. So rarely is it ever an issue. But if you have to report sales tax, I personally don't, because like I said, my cookies are considered a grocery item. We don't charge sales tax on groceries in Wisconsin. But if you do need to charge sales tax, there is an option. Still charge a whole dollar amount. Don't say these cookies are $4 plus tax and calculate whatever the 7% or whatever your percentage rate is. Don't do that. You will hate yourself by the end of the day. So still take a whole dollar amount, and then when you go online to pay your sales tax, there is an option that says, I included sales tax in my total. And then you can type in, I collected $437 in sales, and they will backwards calculate what your sales tax is. I know it's an option. So do not kill yourself trying to calculate whatever your odd percentage rate is. And there's always some sort of stadium tax and all sorts of crazy things. So your brain will be melted by the end of the event. Oh, Heidi, you got a busy schedule. Hopefully some of this will help. Oh, and then I always bring my square dongle. That little thing that like plugs into your phone, or now they don't anymore, they're Bluetooth, but they're called a dongle. So I always bring my square dongle. I always make sure that it is fully charged on Friday. It's part of my checklist. It says plug in your phone, plug in your backup battery, plug in your dongle. So I definitely do that. And then I always, as soon as I get to the market, as soon as everything's set up, I always connect my reader, make sure it's working, whatever. If it's not working for whatever reason, you can hand type in all the credit card numbers, but it's kind of a pain. I don't do that much in credit card sales, so it's not that big of an issue. But if that's mostly what you take, like, make sure that your payment method is working before you leave. So get there, test it out on Friday, and then test it out again in the morning, because sometimes when you get off your internet or whatever, it messes with it. So make sure you do that right away. Okay. Morning out time. Oh, so then on Friday after work, I come home, I bake all of my drop cookies. And again, because of Frank the Tank, my Hobart mixer, I can usually do 3 or 4 batches with no issues of the same flavor. And so I usually take somewhere between like 75 and 100 drop cookies with me of multiple different flavors. By far, my most popular drop cookie flavor is called the Tipsy Turtle. It's like a turtle cookie. It's a chocolate chip. It's got bourbon pecan, and then it's stuffed with caramel in the middle. Excuse me. I sell more of those than any other drop cookie combined. I posted about it one time, and my marketing manager shared it, and then everybody suddenly wanted turtle cookies, and I'd only made like 25 of them, so it just kind of became a thing. Plus, we live in Wisconsin, and we love bourbon, so bourbon pecan cookies are just kind of a given. Let's see. So then I package, I set up everything. Now that I have an attached garage, I'm kind of spoiled. I put everything, all my packaged cookies go in totes like this. This one happens to be full of junk, but I always put them in totes with these little handles to hold the tops on, and I stack them. I stand my cookies upright in rows in the totes, and then I take those totes out and put them in my trunk the night before. I pack everything as much as I can the night before, because I'm not a morning person, and the last thing I want to be doing is finishing packaging or finishing stickering or loading my car or anything like that. All I want to do is wake up, take a shower, drink a cup of coffee, and go to the market. That's all I want to do. I don't want to do anything else. So what I wear to the market is usually a t-shirt like this. I love my Bakery Tea Co. shirts. When I first started doing the market, I was trying to be a little more professional. I was kind of worried about my image. If I showed up in a t-shirt and jeans, I was kind of worried people wouldn't take me seriously, or I don't know, wouldn't view me as a professional. So I used to wear like a nicer, like a blouse shirt with whatever, depending on the weather, with either like khaki shorts or just something a little bit nicer, and then closed-toed shoes. But like do a full face of makeup. Like I was ready, like I was super professional, ready to go. And as I kept doing the market more and more, I realized that that's not really what my customers were wearing. It's a very casual environment. And so now when I go, I'm usually like this. Very minimal makeup. I don't normally wear a lot of makeup, so that's natural for me. I always wear a t-shirt, usually a baking t-shirt, never anything crazy or offensive or nothing. It's usually like 99% of the time a baking t-shirt. I just got this one, but I have one that says I sell the coffee, I sell the cookies, ask me about my sugar cookies. I have like a dozen of them now. So it's always a t-shirt and then jean shorts if it's warm, and then tennis shoes because I'm walking so much or standing on the concrete all day long. I cannot wear flip-flops, especially you're packing, unpacking, loading the car, doing all this stuff, so I always wear tennis shoes. I bring a sweatshirt with me because Wisconsin is very fickle. Some days it starts off 50 degrees and windy and cold, and then it turns into a 95-degree day, or it turns humid from all the rain or whatever. In October, it's very cold, usually. Sometimes we get an unseasonably 60-degree and sunny day, but usually by October, it's pretty cold in Wisconsin. So I'm usually wearing like a zip-up fleece over my bakery t-shirt, jeans, or a sweatshirt, or whatever. I have found that the more casual I am, the more like approachable people seem to find me. When I was kind of dressed a little more fancy, I feel like they felt the customers walking by felt a different way about me than when they see me in jeans and a t-shirt. So I'm sorry, I did not see all these going by, all these comments. So if you have a specific question, ask me again in just a few minutes. But sorry if I missed it. Let's see. Okay, so now we've done all the work, right? We've prepped, we did our market research, we baked all of our cookies. Now how do we sell all of these cookies at the market? I stand the entire time. I don't even bring a chair with me. It is not on my list. It does not fit in my car. I am never sitting. 2 reasons. One, I sell so many more cookies when I'm standing and engaging with people than if I'm sitting. Even if I'm sitting close up, and even if I'm sitting and then stand when people come up to the booth, I don't know what it is, but if I am standing the entire time, I sell infinitely more cookies than if I'm sitting. And also, it feels very awkward to me. I've worked retail most of my life. I was never allowed to sit. So for me to like sit down in between customers feels very awkward to me. I don't like it. And so I literally don't even bring a chair with me. I also, I'm doing nothing but engaging with customers. I'm not on my phone if I can help it. I do post to social media a couple of times and then I double check. I try and do it in between people walking by, but when I get to the market, I always post a picture of my booth and like a broad area so they know what store I'm in front of. And when I make my post, I always say, I'm on the 400 block of Main Street in front of blah, blah, blah. Look for my purple umbrella. And so many people, even if I'm in the same exact spot for a month, I still always post it because people always ask me. And then I just check. I try and check it, for the first couple of hours periodically to make sure people aren't asking me and saying like, I couldn't find you, or where are you, or whatever. I always double check. But otherwise, I'm not on my phone. I'm not texting my friends. I'm not answering phone calls from my mom. I'm not doing anything. I'm not reading a book. I see so many vendors sitting in a chair in the back of their booth, reading a book, not even acknowledging people, and then saying, the show was terrible, I didn't sell a single thing. I have nothing to say to that. What I am doing, I'm saying hello to every person that walks by, some variation of it. Hi, hello, good morning, how are you? Beautiful day, blah, blah, blah. All the small talk, right? As people are walking by, even if I don't think they're my customer. And now I've been doing this long enough to know exactly what my customer looks like. It is a middle income mom with kids. That's what I sell 80% of my cookies to at the farmers market. It is always moms with kids. Moms with kids. Every kid that walks by, hi. I say hi to every kid. I don't even look at their parents usually. Hi, hi. All the little kids, they love it because no one else really usually ever talks to them, and they all want cookies, right? Mommy, can I have a cookie? Yes, of course. That's like what I hear 90% of the day when I'm at the market. Mommy, look at those cookies. Mom, look at those cookies. Can I have one of those? And they almost always say yes, because I feel like they came to the market to either splurge or to just look around, spend time with their kids, whatever. Sorry, I need a little bit of water here. But I even say hi to the grumpy old man with a scowl on his face walking down the street, because you never know, right? Heidi, so when I first started doing the market, they still had COVID restrictions out, so we were not allowed to hand out any samples, and I did not have time to do minis and like individually seal them on their own because I was doing, all these other cookies. So no, I have never really done samples. I know most markets are allowing it again, and I think our market is allowing it now again, but I've been doing it for so long now that like most people I feel like have come and at least tried a cookie. If someone was like, oh, I really was gonna buy 10 of your cookies, but I really wanted to try one first, I'll say, oh, here, try this. And then that broken cookie, that kid that broke one and their parents didn't want to pay for it and you were nice about it, I will just cut that open, give them half or whatever piece is broken off. I'll just cut it open and then slide half into their hand and hold the other half so I can give it to someone else later. And then they try it and almost always buy something. I don't know if it's because they feel guilty because you've just given them half a cookie, now they feel like they need to buy one, or if they really like it and then we're gonna buy one anyway. I don't know. But that's the extent that I've ever done samples. Let's see. Oh, the other thing I do is two things. I compliment people if it is genuine. If someone is walking by and they're wearing a shirt that I like, I will tell them. I don't do disingenuous compliments because I feel like they can tell, and I don't want to say, oh, I love your band tee, and they're like, oh yeah, I saw them in concert, and I'm like, I have no idea who that artist is. I don't, it just doesn't feel genuine, but I will do compliments if they are genuine. And then the other thing that I love, love, love to do, it feels a little deceitful maybe, or a little sneaky, but when people are walking by with something, especially if they bought something big, like they got a big plant, or in the fall, people walk by with giant pumpkins or whatever, or like a really good looking coffee or whatever, I always stop them and go, oh, where'd you get that? And they always want to stop and tell me. Always. And it doesn't matter if they don't buy anything, because having people stopped standing at my booth always attracts more people. The disingenuine part is, I know all the other vendors. I know where they got that coffee. I know where they got that pumpkin. I probably know that vendor's name, but it doesn't matter. Do I ever get custom orders while at the market? Not usually, but I give away a lot of business cards, and I get so many emails from people saying, I saw you at the farmer's market. Even months later, like I just got an email 2 weeks ago and someone said, I got your card at the farmer's market. Can you do cookies for this baby shower? And I haven't been there since last October. So I know that people are hanging on to those cards even if they're not ordering right away. Okay, so that's my favorite one, asking people where they found their treasures. And they always want to stop and tell me about them because they're excited. You can tell by the look on their face when they're carrying it away, right? They are excited about it and you are excited for them. So anyway, that's it. And then I'm just happy to be there, right? I'm not just standing there at this farmer's market. I'm happy, I'm friendly, I'm engaging. And I'm an introvert. I really am. But someone gave me advice a long while back and said, if you are shy or introverted or, just don't like peopling a lot, if you create yourself like a market persona, it's still you, don't lie about your personality or who you are or what your interests are or whatever. But if you just view yourself as different at the market, you can be extroverted for a while, or you can put yourself out there enough to talk to people. If you're normally shy, it might be a huge step out of your comfort zone to do that, but you will sell infinitely more cookies. Here's a suggestion for end of the day. When you get home, rub your legs down with rubbing alcohol before you go to bed, and again when you get up in the morning to help relieve the stress on your legs. Oh, I've never heard of that. Rubbing alcohol. Okay. Thank you for that. I think I got most of those questions there. So if anyone has any questions, please let me know. I'll scroll back and read them. But I did see 2 questions before the event started. The first one is, how do you advertise before the event? So like I said in the beginning, if you missed it, my market is very large. I call it my market. It's not my market. The market that I go to is very large. There's about 100 vendors. It is very well loved in our area. It's like the biggest market for miles around, and it is very, very, very well managed. It is the market manager. Her name's Michelle. She's a rock star. She does so much for our market that I don't really need to advertise much besides posting on my own Facebook page. Usually I'll post something on Sunday or Monday and say, hey, what designs do you want me to bring to the farmer's market this week? It doesn't matter because I've already baked everything by that point, but people get commenting on it. So it doesn't matter if I bring what they suggest or not, because 9 times out of 10, someone always says unicorns, dinosaurs, donuts, whatever. And so then when they see those things at my booth, they go, oh, you made donuts, just what I wanted. So that's great. And then I make a post usually like Thursday or Friday, and I tag the market in it. And it's usually, sometimes I do a picture of my baking rack that's got full of cookies that are fully decorated and I'm about to wrap. And I'll just pull out one tray and snap a picture of it. And even if it's not a great photo, it doesn't have to be a beautifully staged photo. People just like seeing it. And I say, you'll find these at the farmer's market. And by then I already know where my booth is. So I will say, you'll find me at the farmer's market in front of such and such a store. So then it doubles my chances too of them knowing where I am when I post it either Thursday or Friday, and then when I post again on Saturday morning. Our market manager, if you make a post and tag the farmer's market in it, she will always share it. Even if you did it 5 times a week, she would share them all. She doesn't care. If you are supporting the market and promoting the market and tagging the market, she will always share it. And they have a lot more followers than I have, so it increases the chances that people see it. So I don't, if I'm doing a separate event from the farmer's market, if I'm doing a craft show, if I'm doing that high school event that I do sometimes, I always create an event, and I don't want people to confuse the event that I make for the main event. So I always say vending at whatever the name of the event is. Vending at Lourdes High School, vending at the Paint Art Center, vending, whatever. And then I put all my details inside of that event on what I have, what I'm bringing, what I'm planning, and then people can share that with all their friends. I do that in addition to my normal posts. Very occasionally I get people messaging me saying, I want to vend at this event. Can you send me an application? And I say, hey, I'm just another vendor. Sorry for the miscommunication. You'll have to email, and then I give them the real manager's email address. By that point, usually it's too late to get into the event, but there's nothing I can do about that. Oh, and then the other one was what forms of payment do I accept, which I already covered. But in case you missed it, it is cash, 90% cash. Almost everyone expects to pay cash at my farmer's market. A little bit of credit and debit cards. I have a Square dongle that puts money straight to my Square account or into my bank, however you set it up. But I can accept all credit and debit cards, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Google Pay. They can tap it. They can do Afterpay. They can do Venmo, PayPal, like pretty much everything under the sun Square accepts. And then I also accept the EBT coins, which I mentioned earlier. It's like the Wisconsin food stamps. I don't know if it's called EBT everywhere. I don't even know what that stands for, but it's food stamps. And so what our marketing manager has set up that people can come, swipe their card, and get wooden tokens that act as cash at the booth. At the end of the event, she comes around, collects our tokens, and gives us cash for them. But not everywhere can do that. So make sure, let's see. Sorry, I'm going to scroll back a little bit here. Someone, let's see. Amount of inventory you take, you might have already said it. That's okay. So I normally take, let me go back a little bit. So what I figured out for my area is that usually 1% to 2% of attendees who come to the event will purchase from me. So it also helps me decide if I'm going to do an event or not. If they say I'm having this event, we're expecting 500 attendees, and in my mind I go, okay, I could sell potentially up to 10 cookies. That's not worth it for me, and then I usually decline those ones. But so 1% to 2%. Usually for my market ends up being about 150 decorated cookies, 150 to 200 decorated cookies, and about 100 drop cookies. And I usually don't fully sell out. I usually sell like 90% of it, which I like because then I don't feel like I've missed sales. I don't want to sell out to the point where every time people get to me, they're like, oh, you never have any cookies, But then what I do is, because I do it every other weekend all summer usually, I will freeze those remaining cookies. Excuse me. I will freeze those cookies and then I put them in the front at my next event. So 2 weeks later, I pull them out of the freezer and they go right front and center, these 4 cubbies right here. And I try and sell those ones first. I almost always do. If I don't sell them at that point, which usually is not very many, it's like maybe a dozen cookies. If I haven't sold, if I have a couple left over, I'll either give them to my family or sometimes I give them to the other vendors that are next to me, which they love that. Sometimes they want to do trades. So I traded somebody a cookie for this little tiny crochet bee. I traded them for earrings. I've traded like stuff, all sorts of stuff for leftover cookies that I was going to throw away anyway. So I love that. I don't like to personally freeze them a second time. I know many people do freeze at multiple points of their process, but for me, I like to freeze them once. If I don't sell them the second time, then I get rid of them. Let's see. How do you make your own QR code? Looks like Kristen already answered that, but yeah, I just made it on a website. I think it was just myqrcode.com, something like that. And then, hi, I'm just doing a live. But it links to like my Facebook, lost my train of thought. Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, Etsy, all my social medias, everywhere you can find me. Oh, and my Square site. Let's see. Cottage Law Baker, yep. Let's see. Someone said, where did you get that? I'm guessing you're asking about this. This I got at Hobby Lobby. Actually, almost all the stuff I got at Hobby Lobby. This thing, I use this all the time for drop cookies. this little basket I line cookies up in. All Hobby Lobby. All these decorations, little bees and gnomes and stuff I got from other vendors. Let's see. I feel like these comments are just repeating themselves. Do I get custom orders? Answered that one. Let's see. Okay. How do you decide out of your 1 to 2% what is sugar cookies versus drop cookies? I sell way more decorated sugar cookies than I do drop cookies. But there are a couple other bakers at my market that sell drop cookies. There's only one other baker that sometimes has decorated cookies, and she likes to do a lot of like DIY kits and paint your own cookies, and I never do those. Rarely, sometimes for like holiday markets, but like almost never. Let's see. Canva will make a QR code too. Yep, Canva will do it. FYI, Square is planning to start charging for messaging between Facebook and Square. Oh, that's good to know. I only recently started doing that, and I decided that I do not like that feature because it just like, I feel like it gets lost and gets weird trying to message in between the platforms. I feel like I have a lot more troubles than just messaging directly through it. So, but that's good to know. Do you pack up and leave when you sell out, or you wait for the market to officially get over and then pack up and leave? Great question. My market does not allow us to pack up and leave early. But what I can do is, so if I sell all my cookies, my table will basically look like this, empty. I take my cash box and my cell phone and I go to, I own a retail store that's usually like very close to where I am. And I leave my binder out. I leave all of my business cards and everything exactly as it is, set up, empty with no cookies. And then I go and I walk the market and I talk to people until it's over. But usually if I sell out, it's within like the last 30 minutes of the event. I've never sold out and had like hours left, luckily. But our market does not allow us to break down and leave early. They consider that a danger. But our market is like in the middle of, so it's in the middle of downtown. And so they block off like 3 city blocks so no traffic can drive through and people just walk up and down the street. But there would be no way for me to get my car close enough to actually pack any of this stuff up. So I would literally have to pick this up and some displays and walk them like 3 blocks to my car and walk back and then walk. When I unload, we can drive our car directly up to our booth, unload everything, and then go park our car. And then when the market is over, then they don't allow all traffic through again. They only allow vendor traffic. And then I can drive my car back up to my booth, throw everything in my trunk, and drive away. But there would be no way for me to do that in the middle of the event. And my manager would be quite upset about that. Do you not like to do DIYs, or you don't do them because they don't sell for me? They do not sell for me very well. The only time I've ever done well selling DIY kits is at Christmas time. I've tried so many other times of the year, or after my classes. So I just started teaching classes from the Cookie College, so check that out. But that's the only other time I can sell DIY kits, after class or Christmas. I've tried it so many times. Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, everything. Father's Day, Mother's Day, just randomly throughout the year. I just had a couple randomly with me at the farmer's market, and nobody wants those during that time. So I feel like I could say free DIY kit, and they still be like, I'd rather just have this unicorn. And paint your own. I would do paint your own. I feel like I could probably do fairly well with paint your own during the farmer's market. But the other lady who does decorated cookies, that's like mostly what she does. It's what she's pretty well known for. And so kind of out of respect of not stepping on her toes, and also like I'm just faster at just like decorating basic sets than I am trying to figure out scraping and, you know, all that stuff. So just personally for me, decorating a bunch of cookies basically in a basic way is easier for me than trying to offer anything else. Sorry if I missed any other questions. Please let me know. What time is it? Just a little after 3. Okay. Whew, I'm sorry. I talked so fast. I was trying to get through everything in 1 hour, and I was pretty close. Pretty close. But if anyone has any questions, please let me know. Feel free to send me a message through the group. I don't mind that. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. Or if you comment in this replay, I'll try and look through what size are your decorative cookies and what do you charge? Thank you for posting that again. What do you charge for your drop cookies? Okay, great question. Okay, so most of my cookies are between 3.5 and 4 inches, and I usually sell them for like $1 per inch, if that makes sense. So like, hold on. I have some cookie cutters here. So this is about 4 inches right here. This cookie would be $4 for sure. This is just like a very simple flower. What I would probably do on this one is just flood it entirely and then do some little like loopy over the top details. I could get $4 for that all day as well. If I do a little bit larger than that, I have a cookie cutter that's a little bit bigger than this plaque, and it's a coffee cup. I usually do those ones for $5. And they are honestly some of my easiest cookies because I flood, I don't have the cutter, but, okay, so there's like the lid on the top, you know, and the rest is all just a solid piece. I flood like the 90% of it, put an Eddie print on it. So I have an edible ink printer. I love Eddie. He does like half of my work for me during the market weeks. I print any sort of design depending on the season. So if it's fall, I'll do leaves or pumpkins or plaid. I sell so many plaid pumpkins, it's not even funny. I have gnomes. I have like the Bobby Cutters gnome. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a little, he's got like a stout little body like this and then a great big hat on the top with like a loop on it. I do gnomes all year round. In the summer, I do bees and flowers and Hawaiian print. I can't even tell you how many Hawaiian print gnome hats I've sold. And then all I do is pipe I Eddie print his hat, and then I pipe a white beard underneath and a great big fleshy colored nose. And I usually just do like an assortment of different fleshy colors for the nose, and that's it. They are so simple, and I can sell gnomes for $5 all day long. My drop cookies are usually 4 ounces, and I sell them for $1 per ounce. So my Tipsy Turtle cookies are 4 ounces. I sell them for $4. I don't usually give a deal on them, but if someone's like, oh, I really want to get 6 of these drop cookies, then I'll do like 6 for $20 instead of 24. But for the most part, I don't really discount any of my cookies. I do not discount at the end of the day. If it's getting to be the end of the market and I still have a lot of cookies left over, well, then I have less baking to do for the next market. But I do not give people deals at the end of the day because I'm worried about training them to always wait. So I don't want people to come back in the last 30 minutes of the market and be like, ooh, give me a cheap cookie. So I don't. Yes, for simple, basic designs, and that's usually all I do for the market. It's very, very rare that I do a complex design. Like this will be about as complex as it gets for a market. And I literally Eddie printed this background. I did these for a Mother's Day pop-up. So Eddie printed background. I piped these 3 words: best grandma ever. I could get $5 for this all day long. And it was so easy, right? It was just one consistent writing consistency. I pressure piped the word grandma, and then best ever. Eddie did all the work on that one, really. I think that's everything. I think that's everything I wanted to tell you. So now you know everything that I know. Did my macarons $3 each or 6 for 18, and they still did 6. Okay. I love it. I love it. Did you see that post about the watermelons? It was $3 each or 3 for $10, and people were buying 3 watermelons for $3 a piece, and haha, I got you. You know, but he's like, well, you bought 3 watermelons, so good. I'm so glad that that helped. Like I said, please send me a message if you need anything or have any questions, or if I missed any of your questions, I'm so sorry. Just send me a message and I'll be happy to chat with you about it. Thank you so much for having me and listening to me ramble at you for an hour. I will hopefully see you in the group soon. Bye, friends.